on the internet. Really bad.
Okay, well, it is 6:30, so I'm going to call the February 28th meeting of the Thurston Conservation District Board of Supervisors to order. Welcome, everyone. For the record, we have all of our supervisors here with us tonight. Helen Wheatley, David Ayal, Doug Rushton, and Betsy DeVreda and myself, TJ Johnson. We have Sarah Moorhead, our executive director. We also have, I think, Ben Cushman, our legal counsel from Deschutes Law. And I see Elena Reynolds from the Department of Ecology here. So welcome, everybody. First up here is our agenda review. Is there any changes to the agenda in front of us from board or staff? If none, I will entertain a motion on our agenda.
I move that we adopt the agenda.
Moved by Helen. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Seconded by David. We will vote on the agenda. Helen,
Aye.
David,
Aye.
Betsy,
Aye.
Doug,
Aye.
and chair votes aye. So we have approved our agenda. Next up is a consent agenda. It's an unusually long consent agenda this month, and I'm not going to go through all of it. But I will ask, is there anybody that needs to pull anything off of that consent agenda? Okay, so we will vote on this en masse, and just note that for the record, it's a long consent agenda, but all of these are actual projects on the ground that are actually going to do good things for our community. So that is super exciting. It's all important stuff, and yes, very, very excited about it. So we needed a motion on the consent agenda.
I'll motion to approve the consent agenda.
Moved by David. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Seconded by Betsy. Vote on consent agenda. David,
Aye.
Betsy,
Aye.
Helen,
Aye.
and Doug.
Aye.
Chair votes aye. We have approved consent. This moves us to public comment. This is the point at which any member of the public can address the board for up to 3 minutes on an issue that's on their mind that might be relevant to us. I don't think we have anyone from the public here tonight, but I will stop at this point and ask, is there anyone that wants to make public comment?
Not necessarily a member of the public, TJ, but we do have a new employee that we'd like to give a minute to introduce herself to the board.
Sarah, can we hold? Okay, let's do that now. That's fine. Let's go ahead and do that now.
Okay. Well, really briefly, I mentioned this in the work session, but you can see Sophia. They can see you through the camera, who is our new administrative assistant. This is day 2. So a lot of information to intake, and I'll let Sophia introduce herself really briefly. And yeah,
Thank you.
welcome.
Thank you. Yeah, my name is Sophia Barashkov, and
Okay, thank you.
okay.
Go ahead.
Okay.
It took a while for your picture to pop up, but we have you now.
Oh, okay. Well, hello, everybody. Thank you all for creating such a wonderful organization that I'm super happy to be a new part of, and I'm working constantly the last 48 hours with Susan and Yan getting up to speed and sorting things out, and I just look forward to continuing good work. So thank you.
Would you mind just sharing maybe a little bit of your background before coming to TCD?
Before coming here, I worked for the Olympia School District, both as an employee and as a volunteer. And I was with the Restorative Justice Center, and I have a background in nonviolent communication and restorative justice. And I did my master's and part of my PhD work in comparative religion and philosophy. And I've done lots of school garden projects around the country, just as a volunteer, which is just something I fell into as a passion. Even before I had kids, I'm just like, I've created gardens from the ground up in Zen centers and different places I've lived. And that's part of how I found out about TCD through the soil testing, the water testing, and the Green Congress, and yeah. So that's my local connection, is how I learned about you guys, and I'm a longtime Olympia resident.
Well, thanks for sharing that. We're so happy to have you on board to fill a role that's really important in this organization that hasn't been filled recently. So thank you. And I think we all look forward to meeting you in person at some point in the future.
You're welcome.
Yes, welcome.
Okay, I think that's the end of public comment. I don't think we have anybody else here, so we will close public comment. And we will move on to our partner reports. The first one listed here is NRCS. We don't have anyone from NRCS, and we just heard a little bit about NRCS in our work session. Is there anything to add to that, Sarah?
Nope.
Okay. Then we will move to item B, Department of Ecology. Elena, hello. What do you have
Hi.
for us this month?
Hi, TJ. Hopefully my microphone is working.
Yep.
Great. I just have a couple quick staffing updates for you all. First of which is that Chanel Holbrook is our new senior non-point grant manager. She's coming to us with nearly 30 years of experience in environmental conservation and outreach work throughout Washington. So we're super excited to have her. She'll be a point of contact for Ecology's grant funding opportunities such as our Centennial funding. The second staffing update I'd like to give you all is that I have taken a different position outside of Ecology. So after this week, the new point of contact until this position is filled is going to be Hannah Coe. Sarah should already have her contact information. Just to be clear, it's been a wonderful pleasure to be able to be included in these meetings and work with you all through my role these past almost 3 years, and also your staff. It's been a real pleasure. Thank you.
Well, thank you for great work over the last couple of years, and congratulations, and I hope you're off to bigger and better things.
Appreciate it, TJ.
Yeah.
I have a quick question, if I can, TJ.
Yeah, go ahead.
One, congratulations on your new position and new opportunity. The second is, should the board continue to keep this as a standing partner report while this position is being filled, or do you think that there'll be maybe a little bit of a gap period until this position is filled?
Normally Hannah would be able to fill this, but she's got her plate pretty full these days. We might be able to sub in our newest non-point staff member, Travis Casey, but he is also quickly having his plate filled. So my guess is that that'll be a bit of a gap period, but we'll make sure to send you that specific email, Sarah, with any relevant updates. But I'll double check with that and make sure to get back to you on that.
Thanks so much. We always appreciate the monthly newsletter, so that has a lot of great info.
No problem, Sarah. I'll make sure that Hannah has that on her to-do list, though I'm sure it's already there. She's got her everything so put together. Anyway, any other questions?
Yeah, this is Doug. As a former ecology employee, I think you've represented the agency really well. You're always informative and particularly cordial. So that's much appreciated. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Doug. That does mean quite a bit to me. So I'm going to take that and keep it in my pocket for the rest of the week. Thank you.
You're more than welcome.
Okay. The next report here is State Conservation Commission. Jean's not here tonight, so I assume there's nothing to report on that front. Is that true, Sarah?
That's correct. The only update is the next commission meeting is slated for the third week of March. And I believe it's actually, I'll follow up with where that is. I think it's over here on the west side
I
again.
want to say Snohomish.
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
it's Snohomish.
I think it's in Snohomish again. So
Yep.
just that opportunity is a hybrid one if you're interested in participating.
Yeah, on the 16th and 17th, Snohomish.
Okay. All right, then that moves us to WACD and NACD. We got written reports. We also heard a little bit at the work session. Doug, did you have anything to add to either of those?
No, and any photographs you see of my wife in New Orleans were obviously photoshopped.
Okay. Hey, I did have a question about NACD. In reading the report from the conference, it was noted that membership in NACD is down significantly.
Yeah, 100 in the last 5 years.
Yeah, and so I was wondering about why people are choosing to not renew and be a part of that organization.
I don't think there's a clear answer to that. I think a lot of the people, frankly, are dying. There's a lot of really old folks, so they're not re-upping. And the CDs have lost ground to some of the land trusts that are doing some of the similar type work.
Well, when they say that they're down 100 members, is that 100 districts or is that 100 individuals?
I took it as individuals, but I don't know that. for
Okay.
sure.
Okay, then that makes me a little less concerned than if it was 100 districts. Yeah, Sarah?
One of the things that Doug and I had some conversation about at NACD is that generational transition, and that NACD is sort of refocusing and increasing outreach and communications capacity moving forward and some of their direct services to districts. And really building that relevancy with sort of the next generation of board and staff members at conservation districts throughout the country. I think that's sort of a reconnection point for them that's a priority, and something that I certainly see after going to the conference. I have a much better picture of what NACD does for districts and really the value of investing in that membership, and what we get back for it is far more significant than I ever thought. And the relevancy to me, even as a staff person, and the things that NACD can provide me. We've talked about trying to get our Pacific region representative, Caleb Griffin, to come and present at maybe the WACD meeting to help further those communications and really reinvigorate the next crop of supervisors and in their connection with NACD, because I think that that's one of the pieces, one of the factors that's contributing, is losing that relevancy.
You know, some observations from the meeting. I've been to probably a dozen of those or so. I've not kept track, but there were a whole lot more women there, a whole lot more younger people, and a whole lot more people that didn't look like white people. And I think that was a good thing. They've also started a thing called NGLI, Next Generation Leadership Institute, where they try to bring one person from each of the NACD regions in for some fairly intensive training. And they get their tuition paid for this thing, where they can go to the annual meeting, they fly in, and the summer meeting, and a couple of other meetings where their costs are covered, just to kind of get ingrained with the NACD philosophy and outlook and that sort of thing. So I think that's a good thing. Caleb Griffin, I had extensive conversations with him. He's, as Sarah pointed out, he's a Pacific region representative now from NACD. I suspect, and this is just Doug's guess, uninformed, he's probably 30-ish. He's fairly young, pretty gung-ho, a little bit nervous. Well, that's expected. It's a new job for him. but I think I see great things with him and the organization. And we've got to keep moving in that direction as well. It was similar in my mind to the WACD meeting in Wenatchee last year, where it was more casual. Most of the time it's more regimented. So I thought that was a good thing. We didn't have a whole bunch of noontime speakers, so you could actually talk with people and get their input and their ideas and some of the hybridization there. And for $775 a year, I think it's a really, really good investment.
Okay, thanks. That concludes partner reports. We'll move on to governance. The first item here is our 2023 annual plan, which we took a look at last month and again at our work session tonight. So we are ready to take action on that plan if there's a motion to do so.
This is Doug. I'll move that we adopt the 2023 annual plan as presented.
Okay, it's been moved by Doug. Is there a second?
I'll second. David?
Seconded by David. We will vote on the annual plan. Doug,
Aye.
David,
Aye.
Betsy,
Aye.
Helen,
Aye.
chair votes aye. We have passed that unanimously. That takes us to item B, which is a first look at next month's work session and board meeting agenda, which Sarah has up in front of us here now. Fairly standard format at this point for the work session.
I think Betsy wanted to put the tree stuff back, right?
Right,
Yeah,
the
sure.
Chehalis Basin strategy stuff. Yes, thank you. Okay. All right, we've added that to the work session.
Thanks, Helen.
Sarah, oh, never mind, it's already there. The CAC, which we talked about needing to look at. So that's already there. Okay, so how about the board meeting for March?
Before we move off the
Yeah,
session, would you all want to update from the fly-in? It's on the 22nd, 23rd. I don't remember exactly what our board meeting is in March. I suspect it's after that.
I think you could do that under item 7A, Doug, just as part of your board supervisor report. But yeah, I think we'd like to hear
Sounds
about it.
good.
Yeah,
Sounds good.
all right. So the board meeting agenda, we can scroll down a little bit more here. Sarah, are you able to scroll down on that? There we go.
Oh, I think there's a lag, sorry.
Okay, not a problem. Okay, also familiar looking at this point. Undoubtedly, new things will come up as they always do, but there's our basic agenda for next month. Anything at this point anyone wants to change or add, delete?
I anticipate that there will be more in the board meeting as well, and maybe a recommendation for some kind of action centered around the CEC development. But once the committee has processed that information and has gotten that far, we'll update the agenda before the next meeting.
Okay, sounds good.
Yeah, I was wondering if we might at that point be in a position to kind of discuss the election process a little bit, just kind of review how it, what happened and how it went and any room for improvement, things like that.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. And maybe we would have Susan be present for that to give us that information if she's available.
Sure.
The other thought, Sarah, you might have something else in mind, but as far as a staff presentation next month, maybe a recap of the plant sale and how that went and, kind of lessons learned and things we might want to do differently next time. But if there's something else more pressing, certainly we can do that. That's just a thought.
I will put that in here as a placeholder and connect with our plant sale staff, who I have already encouraged to take lots of vacation after plant sale and make sure that that timeline fits up.
Okay, sounds good.
Yeah.
All right, so there we go. We have draft agendas and topic lists for next month. And so that moves us on tonight's meeting agenda to our final item, which is an executive session. So this executive session is to discuss potential litigation. This is permitted under RCW 4230-110I. The executive session will last no more than 20 minutes. And those attending the executive session will be all 5 board members, our executive director, and our legal counsel, Mr. Cushman. There will be there will be no decisions made in the executive session. We will come back into this public session after executive session for a brief report out, and then we will adjourn this meeting. So with that, Sarah, if you can give us the breakout room, we'll all convene in a new space here.
Absolutely. And you should see a prompt opening on your computer.
Okay. Waiting for Betsy here. Okay, we're all back here. We just concluded an executive session discussing potential litigation with our staff and legal counsel. The board provided direction to our staff on that matter, and no formal actions were taken in executive session. So with that, we are now at the point of adjourning our monthly board meeting. Unless there's anything else, I'd take a motion to adjourn.
I
Motion.
move we adjourn. Oh,
I'll second.
Okay, we'll go Helen as a maker and David as a second on our motion to adjourn. So we'll take a vote on adjournment. Helen,
aye.
David,
Aye.
Betsy. Betsy, you're muted.
Aye.
Okay, there we go. And Doug.
Aye, but I'd rather sit here and suffer for another hour. I missed the 6-hour TCD meetings. Good job,
Well-
you guys.
Well, I will vote aye, and if you choose to sit there and suffer, Doug, that's on you.
Yep.
Okay, hey, thanks everyone for another efficient meeting, and take care. We'll see you all hopefully at the plant sale on Saturday.
Yeah, just to let you guys know, I won't be able to make it this time. I'm sorry.
Yeah, me neither.
Okay, well, we'll see some of you on Saturday.
Yeah.
Okay,
Thanks.
good night.
Bye.
Bye. Yeah, I think this is the first plant sale I missed in a long time.